everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and Soundcloud, and now topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. To catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice listed in the description below. I'm your host, GM, and overseer of Podcast of Five Rings, Obsidian, joined today by the wall that will not fall, Tetsuo.
Hey, everyone.
Back with us again, finally, after a 2-week absence, is the Dark Fortune Duelist Meta.
Yo.
No longer have the plague.
You know, all right. No, I'm no longer sick, and my fiance is no longer sick, so.
Woo!
It's awesome.
Now it'll be your cat sick.
All right, my cats will get sick.
Then it goes back to you. It's the endless circle.
What is this,
plague.
volleyball of sickness?
It's like the con crud or, whatever. Wherever you
God.
go, where everyone's just perpetually sick constantly.
Oh my God.
Goes back and forth for one person or another. My friends and I had one thing where I swear, like this basic, like a head cold rotated around all of us for like a whole month. It was awful. You started with one guy laid out on the couch, then it ended with him laid out on the couch again, literally a month later.
You just need to do what I do and just never get sick.
That was the resident wild card now. Who's apparently immune to all diseases.
Yeah. I had a really bad sickness in 2007 and haven't been sick since.
The sickness gave him the superpower to never be sick again.
I don't get, like, actual sick that often. It's usually weird stuff happens. That's the only time I ever go to the hospital.
Yeah, like chairs float.
I would say
water randomly disappears out of his cup.
You know, things just flying, things flying all over the place. Voices at night.
Very stuff
weird.
That a hospital can't help you with. Had to get an exorcism and all this stuff.
Echoes in the darkness telling you to do it, just to finally push over the edge.
Do it.
Do it.
Why are the voices always so mean?
Star Wars.
How come they're not like, help this person, give to charity?
That is kind of true. Like, could you imagine like just a movie based on like this character who's schizophrenic, but all his voices are always like helpful? You should help by like doing your neighbor's lawn while you're doing yourselves, or like your wife has been really tired these last couple weeks. You should fold the laundry this time.
He's like a normal guy that has like the multi
personality.
Multiple personalities, but the other one's just super nice.
I know, right?
Like the first one's just like, I don't really care. I just kind of like float along life, and the other one's like a do-gooder, go out and do charity and like help his community and all that stuff.
That'd be the best movie ever. 10 out of 10. Academy
now
Awards.
It sounds like you've come up with a new Adam Sandler film.
Well, that's not very hard.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said that's Adam Sandler.
I mean, he's paid to make movies with his friends.
Yeah.
I mean, like from that perspective, when you put it like in that perspective, it sounds like a pretty swanky job.
Oh yeah, I'd take it.
I'd take it in a heartbeat too.
Yeah. I mean, he's a millionaire. Anything he does is going to be swanky, like for the most part, unless he's like a hired assassin.
That's what his real job is. Yeah. Adam Sandler's actually just an assassin.
He doesn't make any money doing his all these movies he does for Netflix.
That's why he has to assassinate people.
I'd watch that movie.
Which, by the way, Meta, did you watch the Castlevania link that
I
posted?
Did, and
Does that not look?
Oh, it looks so good, and I know I'm hyped,
so
and I know I shouldn't be hyped because it could crash like an airplane in the mountains. But damn it, I want it.
I trust Netflix if I trust anyone with that.
Admittedly, Netflix is willing, but yeah, like at the same time, Netflix is also willing to take risks where like other stations and whatnot wouldn't, and that's got its ups and downs, obviously. But
yeah,
this
they
is
just cancel their first season of a show that cost like $130 million to make.
Yeah,
most expensive like TV show ever.
Bill Nye Saves the World has received some immense flaming for various reasons, so that's also received a poor reception. Although, there's no concise. I would say like there's no concise like voice on it either. In fairness,
they look like they actually know about Castlevania and care about it though. So it's not like some weird like this has nothing to do with Castlevania. It literally just has the name.
Yeah, no, I mean, like they even started up with like the trailer was even started up with the old school Nintendo Entertainment System and like
Oh,
horrible.
that's cool.
It was a horrible pixelization and old school resolution and like the flickering on your screen with those like colors with like the weird coloring on like older TVs that can happen to them as they age and whatnot. It was just fantastic. It was really a great homage and reminder of like the past. It was kind of like a nostalgia trip for the first 20 seconds, I would say, and then it goes right into it and just like it looks fantastic. It looks clean. It looks crisp.
That whip.
Oh, even the voices sounded really well done. So I'm
excited.
The hype is real.
And there's our Castlevania half topic.
I know, right?
All right, let's get into the new L5R news, I guess.
We
got the Crane article this week. A look at the cards and some of the mechanics of the Crane. This article is called The Pinnacle of Perfection. We're just going to kind of run through some of the new cards that were shown in the article and give like cursory opinions that are probably going to be irrelevant come the time we see all the other cards. So let's start with the personalities, and we're going to start with the generic ones first. The first one we have here is called Asahina Artisan. Cost 1 fate, is a 0/0 Shugenja heir with 2 glory. Has action during a conflict. Bow this character. Choose another Crane character. That character gets +3 political skill until the end of the conflict. So what's some of your guys' like cursory thoughts on this card?
Oh, that's really fucking powerful.
Like what's really good is the 2 glory. 2 glory for 0/0. 0/0 is obviously not that good, but for 1 fate. And if the Crane are going to revolve around honoring their characters a lot, and she also boosts other characters,
yeah,
I think this card's going to be pretty strong.
I think it's a very strong card. The moment you honor her, she becomes a 2/2 instead of a 0/0.
A 2/2 for 1.
Yeah.
And then she's also, again, a Shugenja, which means she doesn't even have to be in the conflict.
Yep, she can be across the map.
Yep, she can be at home.
Right.
And it seems like, yeah, you just are restricted in the action window. That's it. Has to be during a conflict.
I'm
opponent's
almost
obviously going to know it's coming anyways, but it's a nice like push you over. And since characters could use their skill even when they're bowing, if you're forced to assign her to a conflict, then you can still get that boost out of it.
And that's kind of at the end of the day what it's really about, is that you can just wait as the conflict goes until you're fairly certain they're going to run out of actions, and then pop that at the end on anybody who's left standing and just get the +3.
Because now that you can use actions on bowed cards, the way old L5R conflicts would work is you kind of, obviously because the cards in your hand, you usually only get 1 use out of them. You want to hold on to those and use the actions that you have on the board. It's probably mostly going to be true in the new game too, but being able to use those actions while your characters are bowed gives you a little bit more opportunity to wait a bit on those printed actions on your characters. Instead of having to use them before they got range attacked or sent home or bowed, then you couldn't use their ability in the old game.
Yeah.
I like her. She's a good card.
I almost feel like she's going to be a staple in any Crane deck. Like, there just should be the max amount that you can put in your deck. She should be there.
Out of the box, sure. She's just really well costed.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know all the rules yet, but just from what we're seeing in the vacuum that we have here, that's pretty potent.
It's really the 2 glory that sets her over the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah, the +3 is only 1 conflict type, which obviously, you're already going to be pretty strong in. But that glory of 2 is really, I agree with you, is really what makes her good, because then she becomes something that you can use in any conflict as well.
Yep. All right, the next card we have is Savvy Politician. She is a 2 fate-costed character. She's a 1/2. And by the way, the first number is always military. Second, we're going to assume is political. So 1/2, courtier with 1 glory. Reaction. After this character is honored, choose a character. Honor that character. I think this card, more than any, is the Crane staple based on everything FFG's told us about. Crane is all about honoring their characters and overwhelming you with their political skill at that point.
I think the
Crane
Craner...
able to use her to bounce on honoring would be strong as well, because you get 2 people honoring essentially.
Yeah, I mean, 2 for wanting.
Going into like just the general theme of the Crane, if you haven't read the article, the Crane are supposed to focus heavily, obviously, on honoring themselves, but they're also on effective control. We'll get into the cards later on, but it looks like they're supposed to be about having honor and then always keeping that honor high and being able to dominate you even through bidding of honor, and then controlling against events that would deny action. So this kind of character is fantastic.
It lets them put higher glory counts on people without
Yeah, without
Yep.
worrying too
breaking it.
much.
Yeah.
But still,
Yeah.
I feel like the theme of the crane is really going to be honor
Yeah.
control.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
this is a
if you got two of her in play, you're just honoring everybody because you're
Yep.
probably not going to have.
value.
Yeah,
Oh
you're
my
not going to
God.
have more than like 4 or 5 characters probably at the time. So basically, having 2 means probably your whole board is honored.
I mean, you can chain right off the moment you honor that character. You can chain to another one if you have another one on the field, and congratulations, you honor that one, and then you can chain to another character.
Yep.
That's pretty potent.
She's super good. She's going to be in every crane deck. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right.
Every card. It's
Every
every
card.
crane deck.
Yep. Well,
All 40 of my dynasty cards are savvy politician.
this card's good. This next card's good. I'm not sure if it's going to be in every crane decker,
just-
but Asahina Storyteller. 4 fate costs, so we have a high
Whoa.
fate cost character right
Yeah, it's
here.
pretty expensive.
Whew.
He is a 2/4 Courtier Shugenja Heir with 2 glory. Sincerity. So the Sincerity trait, when this character leaves play, you draw a card. His ability is each honored crane character you control gains Sincerity. So really good. A way for Crane to kind of pick up the slack on some of. I've noticed this a lot with some of their cards. They're pushing you towards this honor mechanic. A lot of Crane decks are probably going to honor run to try to get that honored total 25. So in order to do that, you're going to have to bid low on your draw phases to gain honor for your opponent. You're obviously going to be down cards at that point, right? So this is, guys, a way for you to kind of catch up. When your Crane Clan guys leave play, you're going to get to draw a card every time one of them does. So it's just
As
a
long
way
as
to
they're honored.
stabilize.
Yeah.
Yep, as long as they're honored.
The only thing is, though, is that this guy coming out, and I don't know if you guys know the answer to this yet or not, but each honored crane character you gain, you control gains sincerity. Is that a permanent thing, though? Or is it only while he's on the field? Or will they be differentiating
Probably while he's on the field, I would get.
that? And if
Yeah.
that's the case, he's almost a mandatory investment if you have to do other stuff. Or you have to make sure you set up for him. And
Yeah.
He's expensive.
yeah.
How he could buy you back is if you just say you can only really invest spending or having him for 1 turn, and then you get him on a turn where you don't see any other personalities, or maybe something happens where you lose some personalities that your opponent reacts to. Then his ability becomes kind of dead, and you paid for that ability. You don't get like the benefit back on it.
I mean, there's no point in bringing him out if you have no way to honor your characters either, or if you don't have any honored characters on the field.
He's a much bigger risk than the last couple cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he in tandem
When he
with,
works, he's going to be powerful.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely shores up a weakness that we've seen so far.
Plus, he's just base 4 courtier, so I mean, he's just a
Right,
solid
and
character
then-
to run him.
When
Yeah,
he's
he's going to be a
honored,
solid attacker. When he's honored, he's even more.
Yeah. He'll become a 4/6 if he's honored.
Yeah. He's like a wait and see card. He seems good. He seems situational.
Yeah.
We need to see more cards, though, I think. To, like,
I want to see do these special abilities stack, because when he becomes honored, does he get sincerity again?
I don't think you would.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
It would
That
make
was
sense
some-
that you have a trait twice.
Well, I mean, sometimes traits will stack in Magic, so I just don't know if in this one it will.
Yeah, we'll see. I would harbor that probably not, but
Yeah, for simplicity's sake, I would say no, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool if it did stack.
It would be really scary if it did, because then we'd be drawing 2 cards whenever an honored character left the field. Holy shit.
Well, just him, because he's already got
oh,
sincerity.
okay, I see what you're saying.
Or anybody else who already has
Yeah.
sincerity, but
yeah, he's always going to have it. So you'll at least get a card back when he leaves play. But
True. He replaces himself, so that's good. Well,
Yeah.
sort of. Different decks.
yeah,
It's still an action, or it's still an event card that you can utilize, though, to play
Yeah.
against in the future, which is never bad.
I wonder what these event cards will be.
I don't know. Speaking of event cards, the next card we have is Guest of Honor. Guest of Honor is a 4 fate costed character. She is a 1/4 courtier with 1 glory. Her ability reads, while this character is participating in a conflict, opponents cannot play events.
No.
So some event meta. So we have stuff
Yeah.
like For Shame and what's the one with the fair one? I believe that was an event, or was that a holding? That might have been a holding. I know
Shameful
For Shame-
display is a
Yeah,
that's
a holding. Yeah. So For Shame is a powerful event that could hurt Crane. Basically, any event that's going to dishonor you is probably stuff that you want to mitigate as a Crane player. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing, like, that's obviously going to be good, but it's hard to tell like how good event meta is going to be without seeing all the events.
Again,
right?
she costs 4.
Yeah, she costs 4, and she's less. She's a 1/4 as opposed to 2/4.
Just
only
for
one glory.
Just for again those who haven't been fully keeping up though with everything, event cards are explain them really quickly. Like event cards are from the conflict deck, and like what do they cover? Are they all cards from the conflict deck? Or are they just certain cards from the conflict deck, etc.?
Event cards are cards from the conflict deck. They will have a cost. You pay them, and you get the one-time action on them. Basically,
they're not every card in the conflict deck though. You can have items and other personalities in the conflict deck.
Yep. So. But that's the ability. Admittedly, is immensely strong and goes back to what I was talking about. That I think the theme for Crane is just honor control. So the ability.
I have a feeling it'll be good, but I really want to see all the events just to make sure. I'm not. She's expensive. I'm not. There's cheaper. Crane have plenty of event meta. There's cheaper other event meta. So I'm not sure how well she's going to get played, but
why are you singling my name out? I don't understand why you're talking to me like that.
Yeah, we're going to run.
You're the Crane.
I'm the
We're
Crane.
going to be saying meta a lot. We don't have meta for meta though.
I know, right? Nothing can stop me.
It's the optimal meta.
All right. Next card we have Steward of Law. He is a 1 fate cost character. He is a 1/1 with 0 glory. He also has 1 influence.
Here's like
he's a courtier scholar. While this character is participating in a conflict, characters cannot become dishonored. So some just good across the board. Ooh. Anyone can splash them. Dishonor meta.
Yeah. So this guy is going to be in your conflict deck.
Yeah, I believe he is a conflict deck character
because he's got. Oh, it actually has a C. Now that I look at it down at the bottom.
Yep.
Do the others have a D?
They probably do.
Oh, do they actually? I never noticed that. I never took a look close enough. Yeah,
See,
they do.
Yep.
There's a D and a C.
Huh. So this guy's going to be. I'm defending against a Scorpion player. This is probably my first action.
Yeah.
I'm attacking versus a Scorpion player. This guy's probably my first action because I do not want my Crane guys to be dishonored. It seems like probably Line might splash this unless they have some of their own like anti-dishonor tech in there.
I think
cards.
I think this kind of goes back to like the card we were just looking at beforehand, the Guest of Honor, where this guy is clearly very cheap. He specifically protects against Dishonored in the conflict that he's a part of. I think
a little force too.
And very, very low cost, low force. I mean, he's really just there to stop dishonoring. But if they consider that, and again, this is just in a vacuum and this is just theorizing, but if they consider that to be like, this kind of cost for the kind of skill sets and that glory, and the deck that he's a part of, I'm almost thinking that a character that can lock out events is a very powerful character. I mean, we don't have all the event cards, but that's what I'm putting forward.
Yeah. I bet this guy will be at least a 2 of.
Yeah.
In all Crane decks.
Yep.
And especially if Dishonor ends up being powerful. I mean, obviously, at the first tournament, no one's really going to have a grasp of the field, but later on down the line.
Once the meta starts to emerge.
Once the meta starts to grow.
Once I come out.
Happened to you? You emerge from a cocoon?
I do. And I become a beautiful meta butterfly.
So, I like him. He's going to see some splash. What were you saying, Tets?
Just for clarification, now, remind me, is it not in this one you have honor, normal, and dishonored kind of like on a scale? So if somebody's honored and you play like a dishonoring card, they just go back to normal. They don't go immediately to dishonored.
Indeed.
Specifically stops like going from honored to normal, or if it's only preventing people from entering the dishonored state. So like dishonored cards can still be played to pull people out of honor.
Oh my gosh. You make
I think it's that they cannot become dishonored.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't. Okay, that's
a very good point. That does.
Because
he's obviously going to be dead if the character is already honored.
Right. Yeah, because that would be insanely strong if it just totally shuts down everything. A clan, that we're assuming a whole clan is going to be built off of just dishonor. That would just shutting that whole down just seems really strong.
Because the card would say dishonor this character, so they don't be if they're honored, they don't become dishonored.
Yeah, they just go back to the normal state based off what FFG's told us. I bet that's how it is.
I would agree with you.
Yeah,
because otherwise you make a very strong point. You can't even get them out of it.
I think he's still good. He probably just isn't going to be a 3 of.
Yeah, I still think that's strong. But
I think we're going to stick with the value though, like 2 to 1 in your deck, depending on how you're going to build it or what else you're going to supplement with, because I mean, even if it's
and
not the ability to become dishonored or to like lose an honor state, the ability just to deny dishonor state in general is still
Because
decent.
that means you don't have to work twice as hard to get them back up to honored.
Exactly.
Yep. And if you're running honor anyways, you don't be losing honor. So you're just a nice safety blanket.
Yep.
Next card we have is Doji Challenger. She is a 3-costed, fate-costed character, a 3/3 with 2 glory, Bushi Duelist. Her action is, while this character is attacking, choose a character controlled by your opponent. Move that character to this conflict. So we got Harpoon. I think I was talking about this in chat, like, when we had the video, I believe. They were talking about ways to move in characters with dashes into conflicts. So this is obviously going to be a way for you to politically attack someone. The lion guy's probably going to respond with a military attack. So I'm going to harpoon in his probably high skilled character. And
His
then,
Matsu Berserkers.
Yep.
or someone, have them bowed so they can't attack me. Right.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
It's a very
She's super good. She's 3 for 3/3. That's already good, and she has
glory.
2 glory.
Yeah, that's a
So
5/5.
she becomes a 5/5 when honored. That's
She
pretty insane, and her ability is good.
she's a very very solid
This is going
character.
to be in every crane deck. This card is
There's
they're
that
saying
again.
Well,
3 for
card
5.
is good.
well. I think it'll be in every crane deck for certain, but I don't know if it's going to be fully maxed out. It's a damn good card. Don't get me wrong, but we still have only an idea of how the cost per character action, how much you're going to really be able to rake in per average game, and along with that pace.
Yeah.
And she's not a cheap character. And bringing her in for one round and harpooning in is great, but if you can keep her in for a little bit longer than that, that's where you really want to invest her for.
Yep. Yeah, and it's only, and I have to note too, it's only one attacking, so you can't
Yeah.
harpoon people in on the defense. Defending, she'd just be a good strong body, but
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we really have to kind of wait to see where exactly 3s stand in line of the currency meta as part of the full game. But
yeah.
otherwise, I think you're absolutely right. I think you will at least see her, at least 1 or 2 of her in the deck, depending on where you're focusing.
She is this is my favorite card from the previews we got. So.
She's a fantastic card, yeah.
Yep.
Favorite mechanically speaking, or
Yeah, just stat, cost, mechanics. I like the art on her too. So
I was
And
gonna
she's
say
a
we all know how
duelist.
much you like the Hotaru card. So
yeah.
just from art.
All right, we got our first named personality, who is a.
Speaking
I
of
don't think
art,
they used the term unique, did they? What was the term they used?
I think it was unique.
I think it was just unique,
Might have
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that little symbol, basically on anyone with a name, I think.
Yeah. So we have Takeda Asami, also known as Kakita Kai XP from the whole game.
This might be my favorite new art.
Kai. No, this is actually old art.
Yeah, this is
Is
old.
it?
Yeah.
It's Kakita Kai from the old game. So she is a 3 fate cost. She is a 1/3 courtier with 2 glory. Her action is, while this character is participating in a political conflict, if you count more current political skill in the conflict than your opponent, take 1 honor from that opponent.
This is that is a mean card if you can constantly keep using her.
And you said
Yeah.
it takes from.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is going to be in every honor running deck.
Yeah.
If you're going to focus probably on political battles as a crane player, she's probably a card you could cut because you're probably not going to really care about sapping honor for your opponent. But if you're honor running, this is really good in the mirror. If you're playing against dishonor, there might be situations depending on, because we don't know what this. We all assume Scorpion's going to have dishonor tech. We don't know what the Scorpion starting honor is going to be. We don't know if they're going to have to sacrifice their honor to use some of their tricks. So sapping honor from your opponent as a crane player to try to dishonor a potential dishonor player might be a valuable strategy. So this could be good in either scenario.
I think it's just in general a good card. Taking 1 honor from your opponent is effectively one of the options for the Ring of Air.
Yeah, but you might not always want to do that as a military person.
No, I mean if
There's
you're
really
if you're focusing more military, then obviously she's not going to want to be in there.
Yeah.
But I
I
mean,
say military as in breaking provinces is your victory condition. That's like an old school L5R term.
but even so, I mean, just from purely postulating it out there, taking one honor from your opponent means that you can bid technically one higher on the dial in a duel or
Yeah,
for
fair
more
enough.
cards. So
in and of itself, it puts you 2 points higher than them in the quote-unquote honor contest. So that might even be strong against another honor runner
yeah,
because you can take their honor from them. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
you
that's what
gain
I'm
that
saying.
two steps above them, as opposed to just one,
Yeah.
because you steal it.
I think she's definitely better if you're an honor player.
I would agree
Like,
there.
she-
If you're
she's still-
focusing,
she's still like a strong political attacker. She's 3 political skill.
I agree with you there. The very clear 1 military 3 courtier emphasizes that if you're gonna be going for an honor styling deck, then she's good for you. But if you want to focus on more on military crane, depending on how viable that is, then she's probably not as useful even with the honor taking, because you still need to beat your opponent at the end of the day in the actual numerical outcome.
She is 2 glory, so I mean, you can get her to 5 political skill. So I mean, that's not bad at all
Yeah,
for 3. I mean, she's well costed. So
it's a potent card.
our next character we have is Kikita Kaizin. He is a 3 fate cost character. He is a 3/2 Bushi Duelist Kenshinzen, and he has 2 glory. His action is, while this character is participating in a conflict, your opponent must choose the participating character he or she controls. Challenge that character to a military duel. If this character wins, move each character not involved in that duel home. If it loses, send it home. So we have On a Duel Encircled Terrain, which was a staple card for defensive decks in the old environment. It's basically a card that you played it, and when the battle resolved, all characters except one went home in the old game.
I absolutely love this card.
Yeah, it's good.
Seems real good defensive.
It's
real good.
The fact is, the matter is, we'll see some of the cards later on, but he mixed with any card that denies an event or an action that could bow him or send him home, effectively helps you win the battle. And even more, his stats are a 3/2, which means that you could throw him in a conflict that he might not numerically in those stats be all that good, and still beat out the opponent by forcing them to send home everything else.
And you don't even mind losing with them,
No.
because if you've invested fate on them, it's a way for you to keep them alive, kind of.
Yep.
If you know your opponent probably has an action to get rid of them, and you can sleeve some honor out of it by just bidding no honor.
Yeah,
and then your opponent runs the risk of you winning the duel and having to send all his people home.
It's a very strong card
for your opponent most of the time.
I think it's a very strong card, and this is probably, so far of what we've seen, my favorite card.
You like duelists, so
Well,
you're just biased towards the Kenshin.
it's all the Kenshin Sen. That's I'm biased. What can I say? No, I just like him for the fact that like he really puts you in a situation of what is my opponent trying to do, and if I'm right, can I risk attempting to just win this fight, or is he going to attempt to lose that? I have to now play a mind game on my opponent in a card game, and that's. In just one card, you already have to now decide what is your opponent trying to do. What is his ultimate goal?
The pressure that he applies on your opponent is it's strong.
It's phenomenal.
He good.
And that
He's so
glory
good.
bonus. I mean, his glory is just a 2, so he becomes a 5/4.
Yeah.
Yep. Good card. I think he really well reflects like what the Crane are as far as like the dueling aspect of them.
Yeah.
So like him a lot.
Yeah.
Was. He's probably my second favorite card. And last for the personalities, we have the Crane Clan champion, Doji Hotaru. She is a 5 fate cost character. She's a 3/6 Bushi champion with 3 glory stat. She has a reaction. After you claim a ring during a political conflict in which this character is participating, resolve that ring's effect. So essentially, if you're attacking, you win a political conflict, you win a political battle. You could say Ring of Air twice to take 4 honor from the pool or sap your opponent for 2. You could Ring of Void twice to get rid of fate off of 2 of the characters. You could straighten some of your guys with water or all the other effects twice, or on defense during a political conflict. Normally, if you claim the ring, you don't get to use its ability, but she lets you use it on the defense too.
Yeah.
And 3 glory.
Good God.
It's just solid.
That
I'll
is
be curious to see if we see anyone else that costs 5 that isn't a champion.
I bet anytime that you see your champion, I mean, I don't know what the other ones are going to do yet. Obviously, you're probably going to put all your fate for the turn on them.
Oh, yeah.
Especially for her. Her ability is just really good.
Yeah.
Keeping her around, if she's honored, her being a 6/9 is
And-
ridiculous.
And
Well,
she
they-
fits the theme of defensive wonderfully because it's one of the only way we know now that you can actually utilize a ring regardless if you're the attacker or
Attacker.
defender.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
The only thing I think that we've seen like that is a crab thing.
Yeah.
There's like a crab holding or something.
So yeah,
it seems very rare.
Well, they did say that especially with the name personalities and doubly so with the champions, they're going to be people that you want to invest a lot more fate in than your more nameless characters.
Gonna have to build up that fate.
Yep.
we better hope there's no unconditional removal that anyone can use. Otherwise, it's not going to be as good.
Poison.
That numeric, just honoring
Stop
her
whispering
makes
about the poison over there.
What?
Though that
that high glory.
that can be a double-edged sword too. High glory.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if she's dishonored, then there you go. Then she's a 0-3.
That's actually still
So-
bloody good, even dishonored.
It's
I
good,
mean-
but how much fate did you put in her?
yeah,
Probably.
exactly. Well, yeah, but that can be that can be the same for like essentially anything though. If you,
Well, I mean, I'm just saying she costs a lot already, so you
yeah,
can
I get
invest
your
in a large
point.
amount.
Yeah,
I get your point, but
So,
Yeah, it's just
I'm-
something that's going to be in high glory people.
I'm excited
know.
to see the other champions for sure and see how they stack up.
yeah,
Yep.
We got the Crane Stronghold. This has already been shown, but I figured we'd just cover it. Shizuka Toshi is a 2+ province strength. It has 11 starting honor, 7 fate production, and 10 influence. It's a city, so maybe cities will come into play. We don't know. Action. During the political conflict, bow this stronghold. Choose a participating character with political skill 2 or lower. Bow that character. So basically a way to help ensure that you kind of edge out your opponent in political battles.
Yeah. They're going to have to devote enough. Like, they're going to know you have that, obviously, so it already forces them to devote more than usual.
I kind of feel like personally the action is
It feels on the weaker end, especially since bowed characters can still use their ability. Like I said, it's basically just like I need the win. I just need that little push. So this might give it to me.
yeah.
Yeah, plus you can bow people with a bowed activation.
Yeah.
True.
I feel like it's a little bit. I mean, seeing some of the other Crane cards, I feel like it's a little bit stronger than what we initially had thought. I think we touched on it on one of the earlier podcasts.
Yeah, we
episodes.
might have.
But or it was whenever we were just randomly talking. I think seeing that these cards, I think that it's going to be a little bit stronger in the sense of being able to bow people and then playing off of some of those other cards.
Possibly.
I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
which one that I was
Because
specifically.
the only other stronghold we've seen so far is Lion, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And that
Shiro
gives
no
up-
Yojin.
That one gives a +1 military to each of your characters,
Mhm.
but you're probably not going to have a ton of characters. It's not like the old game. Like,
Right.
it might be a +4, where this is a 2-point swing. That would be a 4-point swing, but it's variable. And this one has the potential to shut off bowed abilities.
Yeah.
So I think they're comparable.
What I'm more interested to see is the raw numbers on the cards compared to the other one.
Right.
I'm curious if anyone's going to have more or less fate production, more or less influence. Stronghold, we obviously know they're going to be different, and
Yeah.
starting honor. But
I'm
what are you saying, Meta?
I'm gonna take the wait and see approach.
I kind of feel the same way.
I mean, just like going back to the example for the line which you gave Mao, it's a technically. I mean, it's not the same because it's not one card with +4, but a +4 across the board is pretty potent when it's spread because even if you
Yeah, but that's a best case scenario.
well, I'm just using the scenario that you gave.
Yeah.
It- but like in the situation here, it's not only a conflict that the Crane are already generally going to be strong in, which I mean makes sense. Just like the Lion one, they're going to be very already strong in that sense. But it's very limited to an opponent that has to field not only a personality with that kind of thing, but you have to meet a criteria of. We've seen that like average numbers can generally fluctuate anywhere between 0 to 3, and sometimes higher depending on if they're really focusing on that stat. So. I can see it being good. It's not full on lockdown for the bow is kind of what makes it hard for me to really say it's great because generally you're already good in that area. So bowing out somebody in an area that you already excel in is...
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see what the abilities are like.
Yeah, it's hard to see where this will go in the vacuum that we have right now.
All right, let's get to holdings. We got our first holding here, Artisan Academy. Gives you +1 province strength. As an academy keyword, the action is during the conflict phase. Reveal the top card of your conflict deck. Until the end of the phase, you may play that card as if it were in your hand. So this is the card, another card I was talking about earlier. A way for you to kind of get back some of the lost card advantage you have. The province strength obviously isn't that good, but again, helping to stabilize your hand is a really good ability, especially because Crane are going to be bidding low. Yeah, most of the time.
I actually have to kind of say this is a really good card. I mean, it's almost like having like draw a card from your deck and then play it. And draw power has always been pretty strong in any card game you play whatsoever.
Yeah, I think the only thing about holdings though is that you have to. Didn't they say you have to leave them in your province to keep using them?
Well, you
Like
don't
you buy them and it clogs
you don't
up.
buy them. Yeah, you don't. I don't think you buy them.
No. They just sit there.
And then you have the option at the end of turn to discard
rid
them,
of it, yeah.
or if it's broken, it will auto discard.
So I think it's going to be like a scenario by scenario thing. You probably don't want to see it early on when you're already. I mean, and maybe you do.
I think
I assume you probably want to get as many personalities as you can out as fast as possible, but it probably depends on what your opponent does and all that stuff too. Obviously,
I mean,
so
also how much fate do you have? Like how much fate can you really dump on how many personalities in one turn?
I think
Getting too many out might overwhelm you in that regard.
I think as long as you're okay on the personality front, this card becomes a blessing just because now you get to have another card to play with. And I mean, that's technically a card you can bet that you don't have.
And then again, it also helps. Yeah, it helps with the whole low wanting to bid low honor.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
No, it's good. I'm not saying it's bad.
I think as you put the obs, it's your situation. If you're running low, if you need more personalities and this card is stopping you from getting a personality, you're going to get rid of it.
Yeah, I think you're just going to have. You're probably not going to put that many holdings in your deck unless you're a crab, or like the rate will be a lot lower for everyone else.
Yeah, it seems like it's going to be a first priority thing for your opponent too. So I don't know how long it'll be sticking around, even if you don't want to discard it.
I think
+1 province strength.
Considering that you have 4 though, and that they don't go away after they've been broken, if there's just this one guy, and then your other 3 guys are like keep bringing your personalities, he's just a card that eventually they're going to want to go after, and you can almost hope or gamble that they'll go after that one, so that you can keep.
If you can get him for 2 turns, he's golden.
He's paid himself.
Next, we have a province card, the Art of Peace, which is a 4 province strength card. Has interrupt when this province is broken, dishonor each attacking character and honor each defending character. I think this card is just really good.
Yeah. This is a very strong card.
Obviously, if your opponent sends a swarm in to take one of your provinces and this is flipped, and then you have a host of defenders, he's probably not going to be really happy to see that you're honoring all your defending characters. He's dishonoring all his.
Yeah.
Because the battle is basically moot. It does nothing to affect the battle, but it's just more the giving you the honor, sapping them if those characters are going to go out.
And you
just a solid card.
You actually decide your provinces beforehand too, right?
You get to place them randomly or face down, but the person won't know what they're attacking.
Yeah, and you don't get the ability doesn't trigger until they attack that province and it reveals.
See, that's a really mean card in that regard then, because the moment you see them bum rush this card, it's not only got a province of 4, which seems kind of high. Maybe that's just me, but that seems actually pretty decently high in this game.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I think it is high on the higher end.
Yeah,
it
so
seems that way to me.
So they kind of have to send a lot of cards at you for it to break it, which is even meaner because now when they know they have to send more cards at you to break it, which means that you're going to be able to send your own guys there and send as many as you can possibly, just because you'll be able to honor all of them at the end of it, which will only make them stronger for the coming turns.
Yep. And you don't even care. You don't even care if they fade because you're just gonna get some honor out of it.
Yep, and you dishonor them. So if they're around for more turns, now they have penalties to their.
They got to find a way
rounds.
to neutral themselves out.
Yep,
or they're going to be weakened. So
there's also the shameful display province. Isn't it only dishonor one person? I think.
I don't remember the card off the top of my head.
The shameful
something
display,
like that.
the one where the 2 characters are kissing.
Yeah,
I think that was an event. I thought that was an event card.
No, it's a province.
No, it's a province.
Oh, it's a province.
But it's a 3 province strength action during the conflict. This province, choose 2 characters, honor one of the characters and dishonor the other.
Right, but it's a neutral one. This is so it looks like the specific ones, like the crane one, is going to be much stronger.
Yeah.
I mean,
than like a neutral one.
I don't want to make it sound broken because I mean you do have to actually lose your province for this ability of Art of the Piece to activate.
True.
So they have to actually win, but hopefully they'll commit a lot because of the possibly higher province.
Out of all the province cards we've seen so far, Crab have a 4, Phoenix get a 4. There's a neutral 3, Unicorn have a 2, and there's a neutral 5 province string.
Oh wow!
So it's on the higher end.
Yeah,
like
so
but most people are going to have 4, like at least 1 4. I'd assume probably.
When they're hidden, you probably have to like assume probably 4 is a safe bet.
Yeah. I would just assume a 4.
Mm-hmm.
Can always gamble though.
Yep.
Right.
All right, we got some event cards next. The first one we have is Voice of Honor. This costs 0 fate. Interrupt. When the effects of an event would initiate, if you control more honored characters than an opponent, cancel those effects.
Bam.
This is also 2 influence, so you may play this in other clans. So yeah, a nice just blue counter spell basically for events.
2 influence, play in other clans. That's mean.
Yeah, so obviously you're going to care. Maybe Line might play this.
No, they should only be a Crane Clan card.
To them just because FFG said they want to have honored characters too, and a lot of these multi things are caring about having honor. So
yeah,
again, it seems like it's going to be good, but I really want to see all the event cards.
Right.
Yeah.
So a surprise like, nope, your event doesn't work. You're not going to like dishonor my guy or any of that stuff. Just seems good. Also, just 0 cost. So it doesn't cost you anything. All right, we got Way of the Crane as well as an event card. It is also 0 cost. Philosophy. Action. Choose a Crane character you control, honor that character. So just standard, this is what the Crane want to do. I have a feeling that all the Way of cards are going to probably be the chief theme mechanics of the clan.
Yeah, they already showed off a good portion of them. I think they didn't show it off enough, but it looks like Dragon are the only, or are an attachment. The rest are events.
Yep. So
I want to just point this out. I mean, we've talked about this before, but the artwork on these are phenomenal.
Yeah, everyone loves the Way of artworks.
These are. I honestly would love to see this kind of artwork a little bit more often. I mean, it's just fantastic.
Let's get on to some attachments to close us out here. We got our first attachment. This one was previewed in an older article too, but we're going to talk about it here. Cloud the Mind, a 1 fate cost attachment that gives your personality +0/+0. It is a spell air, so only if you control Shugenja can you play the spell. The ability is treat attached character, so you probably usually attach this to your opponent's character as if it's printed text box or blank, except for traits.
I want to mention that this is a nasty card.
Yeah, blanking someone. Really strong.
This is like a. I'm sorry, go.
I was gonna say, is Glory's not a trait, is it?
No.
Yeah, so it even blanks that.
I don't think it would blank.
Glory.
It would, because it doesn't do anything to skills.
I think it means the text box
like that either. Yeah, I think it's just like, so you could blank the Doji challenger that.
Yep.
Joe, you can't harpoon me.
Yep.
Just like some of the other cards.
And I think like this really, it's such a mean card because it's almost like a soft bow in the old. It's almost like a soft bow. From the old game.
Yeah. Exactly. It's going to be good. They need to get rid of the best person's ability, especially if they're about to fade out and they bought that personality to only use its ability once, and then you just like sneak Cloud them on them and they just don't get the ability and have the flat skill. It's going to be good. It's going to be good against other honor players probably that have effects that give them honor, like the Savvy Politician. If you're in the mirror match, it's going to be good against that. Probably dishonor stuff. Just a good card.
Refresh my mind. Attachments stay for as long as the character is around, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. If the character fades, then the attachment fades with them. But I believe attachments, you can also invest more fate on them.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I thought that you had to put fate on the items themselves.
Yeah,
they
will fade as well. So if you have no additional fate invested on attachment, but you have 1 left on your personality, the attachment will, I believe, fade, and the personality will remain for that.
Throw that onto anybody's champion. That's such a cheap card.
Yeah,
and you just denied like half of what makes a champion a champion.
all for the low cost of having a Shigenja and paying 1 fate. Next card we got is an attachment as well. It's a 1 fate cost. Duelist Training gives you +0/+0. It's a technique keyword. This is a long text box.
Yeah, I know, right?
Attached character gains action. While this character is participating in a conflict, choose a participating character controlled by your opponent. Challenge that character to a military duel. Instead of giving honor for the duel's bid, a player may choose and discard the required number of cards from hand. Bow the loser of the duel. And it is a 1 influence cost, so you may play this in other decks. Just a good way for, I think, everyone to be able to duel if they want to. Also, just a flat, nice ability.
It's this I've like at first when I first saw this card, I honestly thought it was meh. Like I didn't think it was that good. But seeing how easy it is for the Crane to suddenly just start rising up in honor, this card helps with that immensely.
Yeah. Yep.
Also,
if you just bully someone,
yeah,
I mean, literally, like get your Kenshinzen guy, get this on them too. And then you can use this base duel to send everyone home if you win. And if your opponent can't deal with them on this next action, you can just bow the guy.
Yep.
And then win the conflict.
Actually, technically, if your character's bowed, can they still use the attachment?
I think so, because I mean they can even use their bowed abilities. So I think you'd still be able to use they just wouldn't contribute skill.
I mean,
the
if
attachments
that's
modify your skills. So if you bow them, I mean, it's just like the old game.
yeah,
If you can bow a guy with high force, even with attachments, you're going to gain 2 cards.
well, I think like I was kind of going to the point here is that like if it doesn't stop the attachment, then if they don't send you home or remove you from the field, you can bow the other person. And almost
as long as you win the duel.
Yep.
And if you're up on cards, then you can just use some of your bad cards to focus instead of using your honor if you're an honor player. Or if you're Crane military, I'm using the military term again, even though they can political attack. If you're Crane military, then maybe you don't care as much as honor. You got a little bit more on top of you. Well, and you can always just use that instead and keep your cards in your hand. And this is just a way to give you another ability to duel.
The other thing I was thinking is that, like, this just plays onto the mind game. Like, if you played on that Kenshinzen character, like, you could send everybody home, and then you could spend high honor there, but then use this card and purposely lose if you know they can't break against you and just go for really low. I should say purposely lose because then they wouldn't do it, but again, it's just, like, more mind games. Like, you could use this to get more cards out of it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and this is making me wonder if Duelist will actually have, like, a rulebook ability. Because a lot of people are saying that Duelist probably wasn't going to do anything. It's only going to be Duelist that could initiate duels. But if that was the case, wouldn't this card have to give them Duelist in addition? So maybe Duelist will do something. It's probably something someone needs to ask in the video that's going to be out by the time this is published anyway. So we'll probably know by then. All right, we got 2 more cards here. We got the next attachment, Above Question. It is a 1 fate cost +0/+0. It has 2 influence.
This is such a good card.
Condition. Attached character cannot be chosen as a target of an opponent's event. So protects your best personality from events that are probably going to wreck that personality.
This is such a good card.
You can't react with it though. So it is like pre, but it's a good protective shield over your character that is going to be a target.
Considering that you only have now characters or other attachments or items, you've taken effectively 1/4 of the game away from them to affect you. And I'm assuming most items are probably not going to be able to something you can just throw onto an opposing character. Like I'm assuming like attaching things onto your opponent's character is not going to be a norm. So
yeah, just probably spells are probably going to be the biggest thing.
Yep.
Even in that sense, if you can do it, that's totally going to be super good. It's just you don't get like the surprise out of it. You
don't get the surprise.
So whereas Voice of Honor, you don't lose any momentum from taking the action. It's more conditional. Whereas this, you just do. Your opponent just knows that I can't interact with this attached personality. Really, with my event. So
I think though that's like kind of like it's prepping though. The ability to just place this down before any conflict comes into play, though, immediately just tells the opponent.
No, it's still good.
it like immediately tells the opponent is like, well, shit, whatever fight he throws that at, I now have to reassess like how I'm going to fight.
It's weird that all these meta events or the event meta cards are all at Crane with some influence. So maybe there's going to be a bunch of Dishonor stuff, or I don't know. It seems like they really want Crane to not be affected by events. Just an interesting observation.
Well, I think that's kind of like, from what we're seeing, I think it almost feels like, again, it goes back to like Craner's supposed to be in control.
They're controlling.
Honoring. And if you're controlling the Crane, then it makes them hard to, play to their theme, which, I mean, it's probably like, just a rush to the top to like who can control who, but I can see that.
And let's get to our last card here. Hot of Fashion is a 2 fate cost attachment, +0, +4. So we have our first actual skill adder for the Crane clan. Condition keyword. So attachment cannot be played during a conflict. So it's going to be telegraphed, but that's a big freaking political hammer. +4 strength.
It's actually kind of costly from what we've seen from attachments so far, and considering the fact that they fade away as well, a base 2 attachment is kind of a lot. Because I mean, if you bring out even one personality this round, that's like just a 3 or 2. You might invest like 1 or 2 extra points to bring them out. That's up to like a 4 or 5. You bring this guy out, and that's right there at 7. If you just bring him out for the round, or if you invest like more into it,
you're going to want to put it on your probably lower political skill personalities, obviously, just to spread out your skill. And those are probably the ones that you're going to have around the longest, anyways. So you'll probably usually invest like maybe 1 extra fate on this, I would bet.
I think you're going to want to... I don't think it's going to last long for you. I don't think it's worth utilizing long for you, just because of the fact that bowing you effectively, unless they've changed it, bowing would take away the power of that attachment as well, correct?
Yeah, it's a skill modifier, so
yeah,
you
that's
still
okay. So then there you go. So having this giant mallet on somebody doesn't mean anything if they just go like, okay, well, I'm gonna just focus on bowing you now. So
that's the risk with attachments. That's why I kind of hope we haven't really seen any. I hope we would see followers back in the game, because if you bowed someone with a follower on them, you got to bow the follower to get rid of the followers force. It was like a nice dynamic between it.
Yeah,
actual items and followers.
That said, I mean, if you think about it in every shape and form, forcing somebody to proactively act against a specific character is, again, a form of control. You're almost making it mandatory that they have to now have a card that can deny this card instead of using it somewhere where they would have rather focused on.
Like maybe you have a powerful bow ability as well on someone else.
And it's 3 influence, so maybe Scorpion could get some play out of it too.
Yep.
Or if other clans will care about politics at all. We will see. So, that's all the cards we saw in the article. I'm really excited about the Crane clan now, actually. They kind of pulled me back with a lot of the honor effects. I was more concerned that... more concerned... Well, I still might play Phoenix. We haven't seen all their cards yet. But I was more concerned that they were just going to be complete political crush provinces. But I do like that there's some honor victory, and that carried over. So I'm really happy as a person who loves playing the Crane.
From what I can tell, they play well with dueling, and as silly as it sounds, that's really where I was going to focus on. Is I loved the dueling concept from the old game.
Dragon. That's dirty dragon.
I love the dueling concept from the old game. I admit, though, I like the dragon dueling more than the Crane dueling from the old game, just because the dragon dueling was about, dueling combat as opposed to, honor dueling. But I've always liked the honor mechanic itself. So this seems to really fit, currently, the clan that I do want to play, because otherwise I was thinking about throwing in with the dragon if they had a better dueling system. But right now, I really like the theme of control and honor, and that the dueling helps with that control. So... you will probably see me play.
That's really neat. I love that they tied those two mechanics together, because that's one thing I'll say about dueling in the old game. It was really disjointed, that there was focus value on cards, and the only other way they really interacted with the game is if you played tacticians or something like that.
If you
you had to this is actually combined in with the drawing cards phase. It's just a nice meshing of 2 separate kind of mechanics, but making it simpler where it revolves around the one same thing. So it's just good design, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's... I mean, there's always been, this kind of, weirdness of, why are you losing honor for betting higher? But like you pointed out, you had like the focus values and whatnot, and you'd be like, well, I need to make my deck. Okay, I want to make a dueling.
They all have to be 3s and 4s.
Yeah, and like even then
like
you might
mostly
argue.
4s.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you even argue it's like I know there were some people who even only played with only 4 value cards. They were like, no,
Yeah.
I want to know that whenever I draw a card, I am always
It's
getting
gonna be
the
a
best
4.
focus value.
Yeah. And you never knew exactly what you were getting most of the time or what your opponent had.
It was
And
also
it's more telling now. There's a smaller spectrum.
Yeah.
You're not going from 0 to 12 or 16. It's a 1 to 5 from whatever you have on the board.
It was also really frustrating because sometimes you would see cards that were clearly like dueling cards, but then they have like a focus value of 2 or 1, and it's like, why? Why would it immediately takes away from whatever the effect of the card is, because you don't know if you draw that card, you might screw yourself over, even though the card itself is good. If you draw it as a focus value, you're screwed.
And just cards that had focused effects on them that were like, you don't lose the duel or the effects don't resolve. So it would just completely like negate everything the other player is trying to do. So hopefully that stuff won't like seep its way back into this iteration.
I like the idea that
and I don't think it will.
I'm hoping that there's a lot less. I'm liking the idea of the. I guess the best way to put it from the gaming term would be crowd control in this game. I'm liking that there is a fair amount of it for what it is to be, because that's, how card games are. But I'm hoping that it doesn't get rampant to where we suddenly see stuff like that, where it's like, well, you did all these things, but there's this one card that just completely denies all that work you put into like this one theme or something.
I'm getting more optimistic every week.
Yup.
So this brings the Crane spotlight to a close. Who do you think's next?
I kind of hope Lion.
Earlier, yeah, it's going to be. I bet it's going to be Lion now. Actually,
so.
when Tetsuo and I were talking about it earlier, I think it's going to be Lion. But if it's not them, it's going to be Crab.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking Lion.
Yeah, I just think Lion, just because they've already shown a lot of their cards in the Stronghold. So
yeah, I just think those are the most like default
iconic.
Samurai next
Yeah,
too.
I can see it.
Thematically, it makes sense. Here's the left hand, and now let's give you the right hand
for the newer players.
Yep. I would agree with that. I could see the line for that reason alone.
I kind of hope it is, like, to be perfectly honest. As much as I want to get to Crab and Scorpion, I kind of really hope it is Lion next, just because it just makes sense. It feels more comfortable, I guess. And we'll get a better idea, I think, because now we have the baseline, so to say, for political. So if Lion's next, we'll get the baseline, so to say, for military, and then everything else are kind of variations on those two themes, so we'll be able to kind of judge their effectiveness now that we have those baselines.
We'll probably know by the time this video is published.
Yep.
Hopefully.